We're being recorded, Annie. This is Chris Nielson. This is Annie Rettic. This is part of the Breaking Up with Fear series. Stories, anecdotes, things like that that help people break up with their fear, drop it, or even the fears they're still dealing with today. And it can be any of those things. And put this together so it could help share interesting, fun stories and help people drop their fears. So Annie, why don't you jump into that one fear you're talking about, the fear of actual driving.
I have always been the worst driver that any of my friends know. I have been told that many, many times, and I totally believed it. And I was setting off across the country in my 2007 Element to drive from San Diego to Michigan. And as I got to the first rest stop and the wind just blew my door out of my hand, and I got out and I thought, I'm going to be driving across M40 in this 60-mile-an-hour wind for 2 days. What am I doing? What am I doing on this trip? I'm a terrible driver. I'm never going to make it to Michigan. And I just sat there, panicked, got back in my car, and I thought, this is not right. I can't do this. And I thought back to the times I've been in accidents, one-person accidents. One time I was going down an icy hill. This was the worst. I flipped the car over on a piece of black ice and landed in the ditch, upside down in my car, trapped with all my weight hanging on my seatbelt. I couldn't undo my seatbelt. Water was all around the car. I couldn't roll down the window to get out. And if someone hadn't come along, I don't know what would have happened. So
how did they eventually get you out?
They were able to get me out by opening my car door from the outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So I was hopeless and helpless.
So tell me, so the wind's blowing, you're almost your door off, you feel this fear coming up, you hear all these voices in your head. What happens next? What gets you past that fear?
Well, I remembered all of the self-help stuff that I'd been doing. First thing I did was, okay, when I'm panicked, breathe. So I breathed. I just sat there. I breathed. I remembered why I was making the trip and realized it was the right thing to do. And then I thought, this is right. So the universe, my higher self, God, will protect me because I'm doing the right thing. And then I just thought, this thought came into my head, I'm on God's time. I realized that I felt rushed. There was some kind of outer deadline that I thought I had to make to get to Michigan, and it was panicking me. Mm-hmm. And I stopped and went, that's not my story. I left as soon as I could. I left in God's time. I am on God's time. I will get there, and I will get there okay.
So you changed your story. You started listening to yourself, and you had a mantra that this is on God's time. And also giving yourself to that higher purpose really set your mind at ease.
Yeah. The trip changed for me after that.
Yeah. So what was the trip like before that? And then what was the trip like after that?
The trip and the preamble to the trip of trying to get out of my apartment, get everything into a storage unit. I just felt rushed.
I want you to actually describe how you were feeling before that moment and after that moment, what it felt like.
Up until that moment, had just been feeling total like panic and anxiety that I was too late. And then, when I actually started the trip, it's too late and I'm not going to make it. I'm
So
Terrible.
after that moment, so what did it feel like?
After,
After you gave it to God's time?
yeah, I felt peaceful. I felt confident.
Just
And
that, so that simple switch took you from I'm frazzled and late to peaceful and confident.
yeah,
Yeah, that's how powerful a little mindset switch can be. Thank you for sharing that story, Annie.
you
I'm going to stop the recording here.